Shalawam, Shalawam. All right. Shalawam, Shalawam. Let's get into it. All right. First and foremost, facing the east, giving all praises, honor, and glory be to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Wikaha, Kadash. The honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone, and Shalawam to the Lord, so for elect. All right, it's your brother Yaram Yukazak back with hopefully another edifying lesson through the spirit, power, and strength of Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Wikaha, Kadash. This one will be entitled Fraud and Homelessness. Okay, as always, Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Wikaha, is the true names of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Yahawah equals He is, He exists. Yahawashi equals He saves, He delivers, He is salvation. And Rakakadash equals a spirit that's holy. So when you call upon your power, you want to call upon Him and those names. Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Rakakadash. All right. At the end of the day, none of those other names, Jesus, Yahweh, Yeshua, Yahusha, none of those names matter. All right. They're false names and they have no power. All right. Now, what we're going into is homelessness and fraud. So it's been a development in Esau whistleblowing and showcasing and showing Esau, manipulating it's an epidemic, man, of homelessness in America. At an alarming rate. Okay, so I want to read a little bit of this. This is AI overview. And it says, homelessness in the United States is characterized by a high rate of unsheltered, street-based, and chronic homelessness compared to other developed nations, with 2024 figures showing a surge to over 771,000 people, while countries like Germany have lower rates of lifetime homelessness, 2.4% versus 6.2% in the U.S. The U.S. is unique in having a high visibility of people in tents. You got what you know as tent cities, right? Driven by an acute shortage of affordable housing, and higher rates of unsheltered individuals. Because America, the gentrification, right? You got where rent rising, at rates where it's unsupportable. You know what I'm saying? Man, they just trying to get Jakes, knocking them out, getting them out of any avenue, any place that they can, okay? I remember, man, I was in the Bay Area, lived up there for like 3 years, and the place I had lived at, an apartment, the rent was, it was like, it was affordable. And then looking at it, stayed there for 3 years, 3 years later, that rent is not affordable no more. It had risen by like $300, okay? And my paycheck didn't rise. Okay, so it's impossible, man. All right, this is what's going on, and this is really how Jake is being moved out, because then it's forcing Jake to go to lower poverty areas and be they're driven into lower areas where higher rates of crime. Okay, and they may be trying to do it, trying to be safe and all that, but they're driven out of these neighborhoods, and who is taking over these neighborhoods? Edomites, right? So this is James, 2nd chapter, verse 1. My brethren, have not the faith of our Adawan, Yahawashi HaMashiach, the Lord of glory, with respect of persons. For if there come unto your assembly a man with a gold ring and goodly apparel, and there come in also a poor man in foul raiment, and ye have respect to him that weareth the gay clothing, and say unto him, sit thou here in a good place, and say to the poor, stand thou there, or sit here under my footstool. You don't treat a homeless individual different than you treat the individual with money. All right, there's no respect of persons. So, but you look at Esau, and you look at how he treats individuals. He oppresses the poor. All right, you can buy your way somewhere in America because you got the funds to do so. A good movie to watch is Greenland, where everything was, it was attack, it was weather, all this type of stuff was going on in Greenland, And the individuals that was of higher status, they was priority on the list to be taken care of, right? To be rescued, right? So they was given the text and they was told the location where to go to save their families. And everybody else was just, you know, shit out of luck, to be honest. And that's how it's going to be. Edomites take care of Edomites in that sense, man. Right? You know, so if you are aligning with them, and that's how it's going to be with this beast system. If you are aligning with them and you're rocking with them and you're buying what they're selling, then you're going to be let into the club. You know, because you're with the MOTB. You're with the image, the likeness, the ways that they're pushing. Like Shalawam a lot. All right. So keeping it going, verse 4. Are ye not then partial in yourselves, and are become judges of evil thoughts? Hearken, my beloved brethren, hath not power chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith, and heirs of the kingdom which he hath promised to them that love him? The meek, the poor. All right. You know, you rarely gonna see an Israelite that's rich. And I mean rich. When I say rich, I mean billions. All right. Or multi-millions. That's not really gonna happen too much. You know, that knows he's an Israelite, that's in the truth, right? That's preaching, that's doing what he's supposed to do. You may have these Kyrie Irvings, oh, I'm an Israelite, you know, my name means this, that, boom, boom, boom. You're gonna have these individuals coming through with the woo wah woo, when if you look at that man's shoe, it's Masonic as hell. Okay, so you're saying one thing, but on the flip side, you're aligning with the beast system. So you're hoping that people fall for the okie doke, right? And the individuals that's not diligent, they're going to fall for that. You're going to catch them with the 1-2. All right? Or Kanye. Kanye was screaming some Yahweh and Yeshua and all of that. Jesus is God. You know, he's making all these albums and boom, 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 but you look at him now, he got his wife walking around naked. Okay? Oh, is that of the scriptures, bro? Right? You got these worldly Israelites, man. All right? Verse 6. But ye have despised the poor. Do not rich men oppress you and draw you before the judgment seats? Do not they blaspheme that worthy name by the which ye are called? Where is the name found, man? It's found in Israel. It's found with us. It's found with the elect. Okay? It's found with the hopeful elect. It ain't found in the NBA. It ain't found on the mouth of Kyrie Irving or the mouth of Kanye. It's not found with the rich. They blaspheme the name. They have all this money, but they have no research skills. Okay? That's what's going on. But you look at these individuals, because they are of a high status in America, a high position in the world, and if you are worldly, then you're going to cleave unto them. Like, hey, he got to know it because he got money. That's not the case. Money is not a validation of somebody being in the truth. All right? Keeping it going. Verse 8, if ye fulfill the royal law according to the scripture, thou shalt love thy neighbor as thyself, ye do well. But if you have respect to persons, ye commit sin and are convinced of the law as transgressors. For whosoever shall keep the whole law and yet offend in one point, he is guilty of all. Right? Esau claims to be, you know, a nation under God and all of that, but he breaks every single law, man. Every single law, statute, and commandment. Right? He breaks them, and he breaks them. Not only does he break them, he breaks them on purpose. You know? So he's been done. And that goes to you Israelites as well, that you know and you read and you read a certain law, but then you break it willfully. Not no unconsciously. No, you broke it and you knew it was a law. So therefore you're sinning willfully. All right? I got 2 videos to go into to show you how these Edomites are manipulating people, and it's just a whole circle of wickedness, man. Brother got a precept on the board, Proverbs 11:2. Though hand join in hand, the wicked shall not be unpunished, but the seed of the righteous shall be delivered. So that's going back to, these Kanye's, these Kyries, whoever it be, that's you claiming this, but you're blaspheming. You're claiming this, but you're not truly in it. Your intentions ain't right. Your mindset's not right, and you're faking the funk. All right? We don't care, bro. If you come in with the right name and the correct doctrine, then okay, that's what's up. But other than that, it's bullshit. Just to be honest, man. Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi is the correct names, not Yahweh, not Yeshua. So Kyrie and Kanye, those are not to be looked at as a standard of this. But if you got the blindfold on you still, you're gonna look at them because of their worldly status. All right. So this right here is this dude right here, man. His page, he kind of biased sometimes, but he kind of did good on this one. So, I'm gonna go into it. All right, I'm gonna just let it run a little bit, and I'm gonna stop it at certain points, and we can talk about it.
Here in Los Angeles, we're talking about fraud. This place has become one of the epicenters for fraud, waste, and abuse in America. $3.5 billion just here in Los Angeles County, we think, around hospice and home health care.
So the federal government has opened up a new front in America's war on fraud, and it's brought them to California, where the scams ripping off our country not only mirror those found in Minnesota, like fake daycare centers, but expand upon those schemes with brand new ones, which, as you're about to see, are even worse.
Man was contracted with the city and county of Los Angeles to house and feed up to 600 homeless people, but instead he was misusing tens of millions of dollars to live a luxurious life.
How is accountability measured by the state?
It's how many volunteers you have, what the weather is like. It's, there's been a lot of, so it's an imperfect process, and I'm not naive about that.
These fraudsters, and these do tend to be foreign influences. These are Russian Armenian gangs, mafia, that are leading a lot of these efforts, we believe, have been able to corrupt and work with doctors who are willing to lie.
California has spent $24 billion in the last 5 years on homelessness, and no one can account for where that money has really gone for. So the first thing I did was set up that task force, and all we did is follow the money.
We are seeing real progress, and we are investing in what we know works.
What we have witnessed is a 7-fold increase in hospice in LA County. 7-fold. That doesn't happen naturally.
A 7-fold increase in hospice, right? So these Edomites are catching on that the government is giving out money, free money, basically, because what's happening is you got these nonprofit organizations, okay? And that's how they're starting. And you're giving money by the government, and all you got to do is mark a location, an address. You could purchase it, and you could say it's a hospice for the homeless, and you don't got to do nothing after that point, okay? And you continuously get money coming in for you to take care of the homeless. But what's being found out is you're not. Nobody's doing it. These individuals are buying houses, mansions, cars. They're using the money for their own benefit, right? It's the same thing that goes on in the church, man. 501(c)(3), okay? So, hey, Esau is just, this is a cycle of where you got the money to do right, but you don't do right. You use it and you do wickedness with it, okay? And this is why the homelessness is so high, because the people that's supposed to be helping the homeless people, they're not doing their job. All right, this is Proverbs 22 and start at 20. Have not I written to thee excellent things and counsels and knowledge? The laws, commandments, and statutes, bro, it's all perfect. It's all good. Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi didn't create nothing that's bad. Okay, so the standard and the way that we're supposed to live, that right there is given to you for life. It's beneficial to you. But Esau is what? He's the sinner. He can't get right, man. He constantly goes against the grain. So he wants to be opposite of the proper way. That's why he's known as the wicked. His land is known as the border of wickedness. And that means his land, meaning wherever he lives. All right, Edom, wherever he dwells. He is the border of wickedness. Verse 21, that I might make thee know the certainty of the words of truth, that thou mightest answer the words of truth to them that sin unto thee. Rob not the poor, because he is poor, neither oppress the afflicted in the gate. Esau right here is robbing the poor. He's oppressing those that are afflicted in the gate. You're supposed to help an individual, man. All right? You know, you're supposed to, in the law it says not to take all the grapes, not to glean all the grapes, all the vine. You're supposed to leave some grapes behind so that the less fortunate individuals can come through and get off the grapes, man. That's Jake, real Israelites, you know what I'm saying? Jake in general has always been what? Compassionate. Look at Gad and Reuben, and look at Issachar and, you know, Zebulun, Naphtali, Asher. When these Edomites came through, what was the northern kingdom doing? They was being compassionate to them. They were helping them. All right, y'all don't know how to plant crops. All right, we're going to help y'all. Okay, y'all don't know how to make it through the winter. We're going to help y'all. Do this and do that. Boom. And what did Esau turn around and do? Hey, what would they say? Thanksgiving, you call it a holiday. We call your holiday Hell Day, man. All right, that's what it is. You turned around and killed everybody that helped you. Everybody that you employ to build up your land, and this is a part of the curses, right? You turn around and destroy them and knock them down, right? So you oppress everybody, man. Verse 23, for Yahawah will plead their cause and spoil the soul of those that spoiled them. So if you out here robbing somebody, you're going to get robbed. It's going to come back on you. No matter if you get away in this lifetime, all right? You got away in the last lifetime, it's going to catch up to you eventually. Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi is building your case. He knows how to preserve the unjust, and he knows how to deliver the righteous from temptation, loosely quoting. So that, hey, we just got to wait, man, and patience. Let's keep it going.
So according to the vice president, the fraud happening in California is way worse than Minnesota. And what nobody's talking about is that even Minnesota, with its fake daycare centers and all the stuff they got going on over there, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We're barely scratching the surface on fraud in this country. But as America watches the walls close in on Tim Walz and Ilhan Omar, California's governor has got to be terrified, as the same types of fraud operations there are not only being discovered in California, but seem to be much more numerous, with even less guardrails allowing scammers a wide open back door into America's bank where they steal billions every year. But here's where things get even worse, because it looks like in California we've got mafia groups and cartel-linked gangs running some of these operations, which means...
Hey, hold up, see, and what's coming out with those 3 million documents, the Epstein mess, right, is that he had ties to certain Russian, Armenian mobs, you know, and as he's going to show you later, I ain't going to play the whole video, but this right here, this is Russian. This is Armenian and Russian. It's tied. That's who was running and you know, got their hands in a lot of this. So it's just nothing but Esau. Let's go to Jeremiah. Esau being made bare, man. All right. All these things that he's been, you know, doing is coming to the light. This is Jeremiah 49:7. Concerning Edom, as I said, anywhere where they go, anywhere where they live, this is them. This is them. They're known as the border of wickedness. So it doesn't matter if the Edomites live in Australia. Those are Edomites. All right, they took over that country. It's gonna be wickedness there. They took over Russia. Those are Edomites. It's gonna be wickedness there. All right. You know, a people, every people is a people before a place. Understanding that, right? Just because you was born in Japan, but your father is a Cushite, then you're a Cushite. You know what I'm saying? And this is where, you know, your Edomite school system fails you, because they'll say that you born in Japan and you Japanese, but you don't look, you know. So that needs to be understood. So concerning Edom, thus saith Yahawah of hosts, is wisdom no more in Taman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi is beginning to visit this place. And when he visits, it's going to be a massive amount of judgment. Okay, prophecies are fulfilling and passing quicker. He's putting spirits in individuals to carry out certain prophecies, man. All right, and hey, we pray for that. You know, we pray for him to expedite everything. Verse 9: If grape gatherers come to thee, would they not leave some gleaning grapes? Esau does not do that, right? So he's talking about a country built under God, but you don't keep the law at all. If thieves by night, they will destroy till they have enough. But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, these secret societies, these little all this wickedness that he's got, these snares that he's placed, his food, okay, his education system, all right, his banking system, okay, the interest, all of that, the usury that he charges on people, okay, it's all being exposed, man, right? And it's so much more to be exposed. So Tawada Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi, all right, for exposing this devil. The skirt is being lifted up. Isaiah 47, 1-3, you know? But I have made Esau bare. I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren and his neighbors, and he is not, which means he is. So every single Edomite, there's no such thing as a righteous Edomite, man. They all going down the drain. They're all going into slavery. They're all going into captivity. All right, the Edomites in America will be destroyed in the fire. All right, and then eventually come back and what? Serve in slavery. Okay, and that's their fate. You heathens as well. Y'all gonna serve slavery. All right, but then at the end of that 1,000-year reign, what's gonna happen? The Edomites are gonna be deleted. Okay, so they are a nation destined for destruction, for deletion, and this is what, you know, majority of the world can't comprehend. They can't understand. All right, let's keep it going.
America isn't just getting ripped off, it's getting robbed to fund criminals who may not even be within the U.S. itself, revealing that our welfare state supposedly funding medical clinics and homeless outreach for the less fortunate is actually propping up fugitives across the globe. But that brings us to the real reason the federal government is now in California investigating all of this stuff. These scams, these $7 billion scams, these cannot exist without a political support apparatus. That's right, we're talking about state-sponsored fraud. And here's how that works. Politicians pass laws and enact programs that are impossible to supervise, either because they're hard to access in the case of home-based daycares, or because they allow an unlimited number of medical facilities to just open up and then bill the government with nobody ever coming by to check on these places until now.
So you can see these are medical buildings. They've got Cyrillic writing, Russian, Armenian writing. On both sides, there's lots of action, it seems. I don't know how many patients are getting care, but in this 4-block area in Los Angeles, there are 42 hospices. So either there are a lot of people here, or you've got a fraudulent activity that is so good that everyone wants to get in on it.
So this is how you figure out which places are a scam and which ones are legitimately helping people. You go by and you look at the place, see who comes in and out, find out what's going on, and there's something going on here. All right.
I'm in Van Nuys.
Let me see, brother got a precept on the comment board. Get him. Sirach 10, Ecclesiasticus 10, 1 through 2. A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers. In what manner? All right. Let me see, did you finish that? In what manner? Let me go get it, because I don't think that's it. And what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein. All right. So, you know, that's really confessing in a sense that this place is wicked, because you look around and you see a lot of wickedness going on, crime, all of that, all right, death, murder, you know, drugs, high population, what's that, fentanyl, you know, all that type of stuff is exploding in America. And it's being pumped in and peddled in. Okay? As we see in this fraud right here is being exposed. So, you know, this is a wicked rulership. And the people are mourning. In the kingdom, it ain't gonna be no homelessness, man. Okay? Ain't gonna be no homelessness at all. Alright? You Edomites, yeah, even you Edomites, y'all gonna have a place to stay in a pit. Okay? You ain't gonna be homeless. You gonna have a designated pit. You gonna have chains on. All right, so it ain't gonna be no homelessness. The heathens, y'all gonna have a spot to stay. We're gonna have plantations, things of that nature. It's gonna be far better. You know, you're gonna have real food. You're gonna have health care. All right, you're gonna be, you know, it's gonna be wisdom upon the earth. It's gonna be a righteous rulership. The people will rejoice. We're not gonna have to deal with homelessness. You know, and honestly, if the money was used properly. If America, if you ever flew across America, okay, America is what? It's massive. You have more than enough land for everybody here. All right, you could literally give everybody 40 acres and a mule. That's possible, right? But that was not done because Esau, he wants to trap everybody in what? A central city, so he can. What? He can police everybody in that type of way. All right? You know, and that's his plan, man. That big brother to have eyes on you everywhere, every single day, all day. Right? It's falling into his beast system. So more so, let's go to I get the precept off the board if the brother put the whole thing. All right, this is Sirach 14:5. He that is evil to himself, to whom will he be good? He shall not take pleasure in his goods. There is none worse than he that envieth himself. And this is a recompense of his wickedness. And if he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. And at the last, he will declare his wickedness. If he doeth good, he doeth it unwillingly. Right? So this man, going back to the beginning, okay, he what? He didn't even care about his own nation. Okay? He didn't care about his own nation. He sold his people off for some meat, some soup. You know what I'm saying? So if he don't do good to himself, you're not going to do good to nobody else. You think he cares about you? He's not. Right? Let me go to Revelation 13:11. And it reads, I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Okay? So, you got the Republicans and the Democrats. All right? That's two horns. All it is two wings on the same bird, man. Okay? That's what it is. Keeping it going.
In Los Angeles, and this boarded up area above my head here is a big hospice center. There are currently quite a few hospices around here, 42 within a 4-block radius. And These guys stole $16 million. Listen carefully. The main guy went to jail for 2 years for stealing $16 million, which is a good trade-off for a lot of folks. And if you look at it, it's pretty indescript. There wasn't anyone really in there. They weren't doing any services. They just got an address they could claim was a hospice. And then they ran the business, claiming people were at home getting services, which they really weren't. What we have learned is there's roughly $3.5 billion of fraud taking place.
Where have we heard this before?
Hey, Psalm 73 and 5, man. They are not in trouble as other men, neither are they plagued like other men. You stole $16 million. Okay? You stole $16 million and you got 2 years? Let an Israelite do that. Let a so-called Negro, Latino, Native American do that. They was locking brothers up off the PPP loans, man. Longer than that. Okay? So, who is this scripture talking about, man? We talking about Esau, Edom. You getting away. You getting a slap on the wrist. And of those 2 years, all you really got to do is like a year or something. You don't even got to do a whole 2. So that right there is what? That's being put out. Still 16 million, whatever. And you getting a slap on the wrist, man. All right?
Yeah, right. Minnesota, it's the same playbook all over again. Get an address, put a sign on the door, bill the federal government, and get rich. But it gets worse.
In hospice and home care. It's run quite a bit of it by the Russian Armenian mafia. You notice the lettering and language behind me is of that dialect. And it also highlights the fact that this is sort of an organized crime, mafia deal, where you've got folks who are systemically recruited doctors to write false prescriptions, hundreds of doctors participating. They've got 100,000 patients who they've tricked.
Now, this is something that folks like Governor Gavin Newsom, who wants to be president someday, need to take very seriously, because what has been allowed to happen here is a criminal underworld has come in and is now out in the open. They control all of this stuff. You've got an entire...
And he knows. Okay? This ain't going under his nose, man. All right? This is known. If the state is giving the money, they're giving the money to these individuals. They know who they're giving the money to. They're not just going to give the money to anybody else. All right? They know who they're giving the money to. Let's go to Isaiah 10 and 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, and that right grievousness which they have prescribed. That grant, okay, for the homelessness, for the money to go out to fund these hospice, which, as we seeing, are not really hospice. They're not doing anything. That was passed through a law in the state, right? So really, it's the people in the know who got vetted in. You got your politicians, you got your lobbying, whatever. They fund it, and they like, all right, let's pass this bill to get us free money so we can go forth and use this. Boom. And that's what happens. That's what's going on, man. This is how the rich stay rich and the poor stay poor. And this is Babylon, man. All right, I'm going to let a little bit more of this go, then I'm going to wrap it up.
Illegal economy going on here, all paid for by the federal government with the help of California not watching what's happening. But wait, fraud in California, it doesn't just exploit the medical industrial complex. Oh no, that's not it.
42-year-old Alexander Suker was arrested. Suker's $125,000 Land Rover was also seized by law enforcement. The feds say Suker defrauded the city and county of LA out of $23 million in taxpayer dollars for not only his mansion and car, but a second home in Greece, luxury vacations, designer clothes, and private schools.
Right, the homeless industrial complex, that's getting exploited too. This guy got $23 million and spent it all on himself. And this is just one case. There's a whole bunch of these going on right now.
Prosecutors say Suker was supposed to provide 3 nutritional meals a day to the homeless, but during one inspection, Suker only had canned beans and ramen noodles on hand. The U.S. Attorney's Office in LA says they are actively investigating at least 12 other similar fraud cases here in California.
Wow, so there are 12 other investigations just like this one. And who is it that's in there shutting these down? Is it somebody at the state level? Oh, no, this is the U.S. Attorney General's office, who is going after this stuff. This is a federal investigation into the plundering of federal dollars. But now the big question is, why is it that California has so many of these fraudulent programs that just seem to send millions and billions of dollars into black holes where nothing ever happens? And why aren't people like the governor at all interested in investigating this stuff before the federal government comes in?
Boom. You know, and this is, like I said, man, it's just a cycle. It's repetitive at this point. Your so-called, you know, your tax dollars go into making the rich richer, because they're manipulating, they're using these schemes, all right? They're using these laws, these grants, okay? And they're getting rich off of you. You're paying for all of this, right? You're paying for all of this. That's what's going on, you know? That's why every time DJT gets in office, what does he do? He helps his big business friends, man. You know, we peep the plays, all right? It's a script. But Jay can't see it. Jay can't wake up. Jay can't recognize that it's all fraud. It's all artificial. It's all fake. You know what I'm saying? So let me see, man. Let's get one more. Because that's just how this devil do, man. You know? This is Zechariah 7 and 9. Thus speaketh Yahawah of hosts, saying, execute true judgment, and show mercy and compassions every man to his brother. Like I said earlier, Israelites, we are compassionate people, man. All right? But you can see that Israelites are not in rulership. Because does this planet show compassion at this point in time? Is it compassion being shown in America, Babylon? And this is the top tier country on the planet? You know, this is the #1 place to be. But you got, as I showed earlier in the video, this is the place with the, you know, a massive amount of homelessness. Okay? But this is the #1 place to be. Well, you got tent cities everywhere. You can, especially in California, bro, it's hard to, you can't get you ain't buying a house out here. You know, it's hard. You're not buying no house out here. Okay, that's extremely rare, right? That's why, as you can see in California, it has, matter of fact, I saw an article on that. California had the largest population decrease, I believe, last year. Right here, all right? California population has decreased by over 170,000 to 200,000 residents since April 2020, marking the largest numeric drop in the nation. While initial declines were driven by pandemic-related deaths and lower international migration, the long-term trend is driven by high domestic out-migration to other states, with the population hovering around 39.35 million by mid-2025. People are leaving because gentrification, okay? The wickedness, this is what they call it. It's a safe state. What's that shit called? Forgot. You know, if brother know it, put in the comments. A sanctuary state, right? So the migrants, okay, for the most part, the cartel, all that, they're coming in here heavy, and they're getting all the jobs. They're getting all of that. You know, and hey, it's hard, you know, just to be honest, it's hard. All right. So it's Babylon, man. It's declining. The grinding shall cease. AI is heavily taking over and influence, especially in San Francisco, you know, Silicon Valley, LA. You got, what's that place? Flippies, I think. It's a place that's, it's 100% autonomous, right? Just straight AI. Flipping burgers, cooking fries, all of that. That's the future. You know, if Esau has his way. So that's what's taking over, man. Ain't no jobs out there like that. You know? So, hey, with that being said, I'm going to wrap it up right there. Facing the east, giving all praises, honor, and glory be to Yahawah, Bahasham, Yahawashi, Bahasham, Kakadash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, and bishops of the great millstone. Shalawam to the Lord's hopeful elect. As always, Kwam Yasharahla and a Baba Ball to this wicked kingdom. All right, may Yahawah Bahasham Yahawashi destroy this bitch yesterday. Shalawam, Shalawam.